everyone. I'm Hannah, and I'm part of the Crohn's and Colitis network. We had a little bit of a technical problem, but we are here now. Hope you can see us and hear us. I'm just going to introduce our panel this evening. This is Cathy Webb.
I'm Cathy Webb, IBD nurse at Derriford Hospital.
I'm Shaz. I'm the
joint
chair
of,
of the local group.
And I'm Heather, and I'm also one of the volunteers.
And they're all superstars, because that's what I said the first time
I was
round.
just about to say that.
Because I thought I just repeated it the first time round. So, sorry. We also have Danny behind the camera, who she's monitoring all your comments and everything. So please, it would be great if you could give us a like or something so we know that everything's working now.
Yes.
Or a wave or something. We'd really appreciate that. So hi Danny, good evening.
Good evening everybody. I'm hoping you can hear us and see us. Yeah, all singing and dancing. Excellent, thank you Lindsay.
Good.
Brilliant. Okay, so right, our first question tonight is, why is there no facility in Plymouth for children with IBD? Sorry.
I'm fascinated too.
So to repeat what I just said,
Before anybody could see. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say there was no facility in Plymouth for children with IBD. Unfortunately, we don't have a paediatric gastroenterologist here, so therefore children still have to go to Bristol.
What's a paediatric gastroenterologist? What do you mean?
Gastroenterologist that specialises in children, or a paediatrician that specialises in gastroenterology.
Okay.
We have our paediatricians are generalists here, although they do have an interest in IBD, or some of them do. Dr. Lopez, who's now not with the service anymore, he was the lead for transition. He is now gone, and we now have Sam Broad, who's excellent, and Sam has been working with Bristol, as you just mentioned, Heather, so that they come down and do a transition clinic essentially every couple of months. So I think that things are getting a lot better. They're not perfect, and children still do have to go to Bristol for their investigations, but at least once that's happened, there is a better transition service now, and certainly the Bristol team are coming down here. So I think that does make a big difference on the whole. So we've had some positive feedback from them regarding that.
I was wondering if anyone watching has had any experience of that, and if they would like to comment or let us know. We'd love to hear about it. Cool.
A question that was sent in today. I've been reading some research that mangoes can reduce inflammation in Crohn's. Can anyone confirm or deny this?
Well, I actually did a little bit of research on this after that question came in, because I haven't heard anything about it.
You've been sat there with your mango.
I did. I've been eating my mango, and it was delicious. But I'm not having a flare, so I can't tell you if that would have improved it. No, seriously,
Here's clinical trials for Plymouth.
There is some research going on in there's a university in America, Texas A&M, I believe it's called, and they're a big university, lots of students. I think lots of 60,000 students or something, and they're doing research at the moment on how mangoes, or I think there's something called phenophils or something, is it? Anyway, we were looking at it.
I agree for that.
She said a very clever word. Anyway, they're looking at extracts of mangoes, I think, as well, and they're trialling it out. But they've been doing it since 2014, but they don't finish until next year. So there've been some early results where I think something may have been published that said, yes, this could be useful. But I think it's probably too early to say at this stage.
Small numbers as well.
Yeah.
Well, when I was first diagnosed, a colleague said to me, "Oh, Crohn's, I suppose you're eating loads of pineapple."
But pineapple's quite acidic, isn't it?
And I went, really?
Yeah.
And oh yeah. And quite a few people said it to me when I was first diagnosed. Quite surprised. I mean, I quite like pineapple, but I'd imagine it's quite hard to digest. It's
it's very acidic.
And
I
I mean, I love pineapple.
Too, yeah.
But I thought it was quite funny that she said something like the enzymes in it or something. I'm not sure. But
the jury's out anyway.
The jury's out.
Yeah, but if we do get hear of any results of the trial, then we'll let you know on another one of these updates.
Hi, Abby.
Hi Abby. Do you have to have Crohn's or colitis to volunteer?
No, I haven't got it.
scenes behind all this wonderful technical equipment.
It is.
It is now.
It is.
Yeah, but he might get it because he's my son.
Looking on the positive side.
You shouldn't have told him.
So no,
do you
you
want
don't.
to work volunteers?
Yeah. So basically, next week, myself and Shaz will be at Plymouth Uni Volunteer Day. So come and see us at the stall. I think we're number 11 or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Quite looking forward to it and hopefully seeing lots of your faces. What we're really after is for people to come and volunteer even a small amount of time. We've got some exciting events coming up in the next year, and we really, really, really need lots of hands on deck to help us,
Yes.
to be honest. And even if it's only an hour on one of our event days, that would be fabulous. And also we know it will help with the new Plymouth Uni intake, or people who are already there, to build up your volunteer kind of hours as well. So hopefully come down and see us.
Yeah.
It'll be our faces.
Tuesday the 19th.
Tuesday the 19th.
I think it starts at 11. Is it 11 till 3?
11 till, yeah.
Or 11 till 4.
Uh,
Anyway, 11 onwards,
yeah.
most of the day. And the other thing I was going to say is we used to, on the team, we used to have a parent of somebody who had IBD, and it was really quite useful having someone on the team who didn't suffer themselves, but had worries for their kids and wanted to know a little bit more about how their kids could be treated. Also would have ideas for things that we could do for children. So I mean, if somebody wanted to volunteer for the team, you know, even again, it could just be occasionally come along, or just come and give us some ideas of what we could do for kids, because it's quite difficult to aim things at kids, you know, when you haven't got kids yourself, or if your kids are grown up like mine are,
Or they're really small,
or
like
they're
mine
really
is.
tiny, so they can't tell you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, input like that is really useful.
We've just had a question from Abby, who's watching us tonight. Do any of you girls receive PIP or PIP?
Is that personal independence payment?
I'm not sure. As
Maybe
Kathy
not.
knows, she's going through the long process of getting it now. If you do, was it an easy process for you? Not me.
Not me, no.
It's a really
It's a difficult one
It is really difficult,
do.
and we've had. There are some people that do have really awful Crohn's or colitis, generally Crohn's, that prevents them from being able to, you know, work normally. Not many people are like that, but there definitely are, you know, a reasonable amount of people out there that do have quite a significant disease burden, and I've personally found it incredible that they get denied. I can think of a few people that are on, for example, home TPN, like they're on parenteral nutrition through a neckline, and they are really debilitated by the disease, and they are being refused PIP. So it's a really contentious issue, because PIP generally, what people look at is mobility. So if you can physically move or pick up something, then you'll just get turned down.
They assess it.
They
from
don't
like
look at
a
anything
broad
else.
range. They don't look at it specifically from your disease.
I looked at one of my
It's really
cousin's
unfair.
wife is a social worker, and she supports people to get PIP. That's part of what she does. And I talked through some of, you know, we were just chatting over a glass of wine. Cheers. And she was like, oh my goodness. And she said, oh my goodness, Hannah, you really should get PIP. You know, and I said, well, I work and everything. She said, it's not work related. You know, you can still work. And she says, you know, it can support you with other things like, you know, increased water bills and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I did look into it because I thought,
Mm.
I mean, I was just interested, just from an interested point of view. And a lot of the stuff I read about it is just as you say, that it's very weighted towards certain debilitating things. And I mean, I was suffering from anxiety quite a lot of the time, and basically I was told that my more minor anxiety, I was more likely to get PIP for that than I was for my Crohn's, which is obviously, it is debilitating to my life. I'm not saying anxiety isn't debilitating at all, but you know, like my Crohn's would be my major health concern. So
Might be able to get a grant from Crohn's and Colitis UK. Some of the money that we raise, I mean, obviously all the money that we raise locally goes into head office, and head office have like pots of money that they distribute. So obviously they do a lot of research, but they also distribute money for grants for people who are on lower incomes or people who can't afford certain things.
Sorry, just to
Abby and
interrupt.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Abby, you're saying your weight is going up and down,
Oh,
and
I'm
your
living
wardrobe, 1 minute your clothes are fitting and then they
Yeah.
don't. That's something that does come under the Crohn's and colitis
Yes,
grants,
grants,
isn't it?
yeah.
So
Go to the
go to
website.
the website.
And search for grants, and they do. You can apply for a grant. I mean, I haven't done it, but I know they provide grants all the time. I think I was just trying to remember the figures. Like they gave out about 70,000 or something, I think, last year in grants to people, and it's for all sorts of things. Things like washing machines. The washing machine's broken down, but you've got flare and you keep making a mess of the bed. You have to keep doing the washing. Just all sorts of practical things as well. Laptops, I'm sure they've given people money for laptops so they can work from home rather than working at work in some cases. So do try the grant system, it's well worth it.
And keep on as well. Keep on.
Yeah.
Because normally, if you appeal and appeal and appeal, eventually people do get it. It's just that
Right.
they get turned down very easily.
Yeah.
You know, it's a knee-jerk reaction.
And I think it's, thank you very much, Hannah and Abby. I think it's really great to see you supporting each other in the comments. Thanks for that. I really, that's really good. Like people who've got the experience, we really appreciate that. And I think let us know how you get on. You know, I think it'd be really, really good. I really hope you get the support you need. But
good luck.
I think the charity grants kind of shows how important our fundraising activities are. Because actually, you might think, oh well, how does pig racing have to do with whatever? But actually, those things actually could
provide
help.
the money that
Provide the money to go into the central thing.
At the end
Sorry,
of the
Danny.
year, we send out 3 lots of money, and I always get them mixed up which way they go. But one's for research, one's for welfare, which is the grants, isn't it? And then there's one's
a general fund.
General fund.
Yeah.
So the money we've raised, yes, we've sent up a couple £1,000. So that's there for people to try.
We sent in this year, from last year's money, we sent in about £12,000 because we raised a lot last year, so we sent in about £12,000 for from last year. That's what we sent in. So just locally, that's how much we raised. Walk It itself, Walk It just in Plymouth, Walk It raised about £12,000. Overall, I think it was something like £330,000. But all that money that's being raised is going into pots to be given back to people, so or to given to research
it's
projects.
It's just sad that it has to be done that
by a charity.
Do you know what I mean? It's just sad that the people, who have to do the PIP assessments, the people who are suffering, or the people, why do they have to go to the charity for it? Why can't they
and
be
why do they have to jump through so many hoops as well? I must have written 4 letters on one particular person, and they were really lengthy letters, and time and kept getting turned down. It's really appalling.
I think on one of the forums there was actually one of the back along now. I remember reading something roughly that there was an actual PIP assessor who commented about it, and they said themselves that they wanted to be able to grant this for them, but because it's a tick chart of can you do this, can you not do this, and if you can walk those 20 steps that they ask for, then it's a cross in the box and you don't get it. It's as simple as that.
And it's like a mark scheme. It's how it's applied. It's not down to the person, and the sad thing is that Crohn's doesn't really hit their mark scheme, and what we're upset with is that we think it should. Over to you, National Charity, for some lobbying.
Yes.
Should we move on?
Abby says Kathy she'll be up about 10 tomorrow, if that's
Get her letter ready.
That's fine.
Danny's our diary secretary as well.
Okay, so what events do we have coming up, and how can be involved?
Do you want to take that one, Shaz?
Oh, we've got loads of events coming up. We already talked about the volunteering fair last year. Next week.
Hello.
Just a little bit of time travel going on there. After that, we've got a quiz. That's September the 29th. You need to let us know beforehand if you want to go. We are now down to only 1 table available. So all the tables are gone apart from 1. It's £10 a person. You get a quiz and a curry on the night. Yummy. It's Fort Stanford. Starts at about 7. I think you need to get there for 7. But let us know beforehand, because that table could be going any time. The next thing after that is Friday the 6th of October is pig racing. That's at Green Taverners. It's a brilliant event. It's so funny. We all have so much fun when we do that.
Can I
just love
interrupt
it.
you and
Yes,
say
please.
that I'm still looking for sponsors? So
Yes.
we have 4 spots available for sponsorship. If you are a local company or you know a local company, big shout out to C&D Electrical Plus, Falcon Business Park in Plimpton, and one other whose name I've forgotten, and my business, House Games. .co.uk. For sponsoring so far. It's only £20 for the basic sponsorship, so it'd be really, really great. 4 spots, please get in touch with me directly. You can get me on here and I'll respond. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a good interrupt, I would say. Yeah, email or message us. You can message us on our Facebook page very easily. After pig racing
The medics.
is Meet the Medics. Yes, Meet the Medics
She's
is on
getting
November the
ready.
4th. Kathy will be there, as will we already have. Yeah, Kathy. We have a stoma nurse and we have a dietitian as well, and we may have a doctor. We're not sure. We might get a doctor at some point. That's November the 4th. It's a Saturday morning. It's 10:30 till 12:30. So it's just a couple of hours, and we've got to have a little bit of an AGM in there, which will be about 10 minutes. But the rest of the time is going to be able to chat, like in little groups or individually, to the people that we've got there, like Kathy. I'm sure you'd love to see her.
Do you have refreshments?
Yes, we have refreshments. Well
Would
asked.
you,
Would you
not
not be there?
No, our refreshments will be tea, coffee, squash, and
okay.
biscuits.
We'll lace yours.
We've got a question that's just come up from Lindsay. It says, "Hi ladies, I'm currently on Humira. Have any of you been on it, and how do you know when it's not working? Currently feeling like I've plateaued with it."
I can answer that. Can you? Do you want to go,
Yes.
Heather? You go and I'll go.
I'm on it. This is now my 2nd course of it. I'm broaching on nearly 3 years on it, I think, which is
They'll be trying to get you off it for you now.
yeah.
She's making.
Do you know what? It's really difficult because actually I felt exactly the same. And recently I emailed Kathy about probably 3-4 weeks ago asking about blood tests because I'd seen Judy, I think, about how the blood tests were going because I was feeling a bit rubbish, just feeling really tired, kind of achy and things, and it was just, I felt like I wasn't really getting very much from it either. And then I emailed Kathy and she said the bloods were fine. So...
What, and then you just suddenly felt better?
But you know what, I do have moments when I feel really just not 100%, but all of the tests are coming back all right. And unfortunately, it's awful, but that is kind of part of the diseases as well, isn't it? You get moments, even when you're on the best medications, that you are going to have a really, really just kind of lethargic time is the best kind of word for it, I think. You know you can sort of bumble your way through, but the easiest things make you tired. And also weather affects it as well. They've kind of proven that the weather recently isn't going to be the best for things like aching joints and all that sort of thing, and for moods as well, which also affects us. So it is difficult. It depends what your symptoms are as well. I know that the minute that I start getting pain, then I know that something's not right. But if it's something as simple as your aching joints, or you're not sleeping as well and things, and those are sort of little triggers for you, knowing that your Crohn's or your colitis or whatever is slipping back in, then that is the automatic time to try and get some blood tests or just contact the team, really.
I think it's important that anybody gets reassessed. So our plan would always be a year into Humira, have an MRI, colonoscopy, whatever it is, to assess those exact things. So you can't, like Heather says, there are so many possible symptoms that you could have that may be related to Crohn's or colitis and may not be.
Do you have regular blood tests anyway?
So you should have
On
regular
it.
blood tests. But
Also, it's the same as like on other drugs.
yeah, but even if your bloods are normal, sometimes it doesn't mean the disease isn't in remission.
My Humira experience, I went on it quite a few years ago, probably 2009, 2010. Is that possible? and it was my wonder drug, and I came off it, and then it didn't work again when I went back on it, and I needed a wonder drug again. And I've tried it since, and that, I think when we chatted about this on a previous live chat, you said that does happen, that sometimes,
Definitely.
like, because
people lose response.
Yeah, because basically what our bodies have done is that they're cleverer than our immune system, aren't they? And that's why they've kind of dodged it, and then as you find a new thing, they dodge that as well. And basically, Humira, I mean, to say the word wonder drug is a lot, but it was a wonder drug for me. I loved it. I loved it. And now I'm a little bit sad. I feel a little bit saddened by I've been abandoned by Humira. But yeah, so I'm on budesonide now because
But I think it's important just to always get checked out. If you think that your drug's not working, make sure you're seen and reassessed.
There's some great chat going on.
There is a lot of chat going on, and I can't keep up with it all.
That's
It's
brilliant.
great. It's brilliant that you're all chatting to each other.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because it's like this is the virtual coffee.
Yes,
the whole thing. We want it to be a coffee morning or we used to do
you have a
wine
coffee.
evening.
we did used to do a pub social evening one month and a coffee morning the next month, so alternate months. But of course, it's harder for people to get
But you knew
physically out.
because you
I
were
knew
there
that.
all the time.
That's why I never came to coffee.
Sorry, was it Lindsay that asked what options are there available other than Humira?
I'm sorry.
Lots.
I think it was someone asked that question. Do you want
the Captopurin.
What new treatments
all-
are available?
It's sort
And
of
then I know Abby came in with ustekinumab, so I was wondering if that might be useful.
Ustekinumab is obviously the big cheese, the new one, and that's just been licensed for Crohn's and colitis and given nice guidance at last.
Which we covered on our last.
Yeah, so I guess that's the new one. But there are lots of other medications. I mean, it's difficult to answer when I don't know what people have previously had. There are lots of immunosuppressants, and Humira is just one of them.
It also depends what type you have as well. If you've got Crohn's and colitis, as to what would
Exactly.
work.
Yeah.
Whereas captoprene wouldn't work well on Crohn's disease.
Is
It
Lindsay a
works.
patient here?
It works
Brilliantly for me.
But it works brilliantly for colitis.
Don't know. Lindsay, are you in Plymouth or are you anywhere else? We'd love to hear.
Lindsay. Yeah,
I don't recognise the name.
Okay.
I mean, I the surname. Not
Yeah.
The first name.
Hannah's asked quite a nice question there. How do we cope?
Sorry, I'm struggling
Sorry.
because there was
Sorry,
another
I'm-
question just a moment ago which I want to.
Lindsay.
Oh, she's from the Midlands.
Right,
There is a
okay.
Midlands group.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into our local chat.
But
Thanks,
let's-
Lindsay.
Lindsay, if you've got an IBD nurse, maybe get in contact with your IBD nurse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
And,
get in touch with the Midlands Crohn's and Colitis group. They will be able to sort of give you some
Idea.
pointers
But
if
we-
you're
but
not
we
too
love-
sure.
yeah,
But
no,
thank you for
We
tuning
love you,
in.
please. We're here every month, and we're really delighted that we've reached the Midlands.
Yeah.
We never realised Devon went so far up
No,
the country.
we're sorry about the accent.
China.
Have a lovely holiday, China.
China's on our committee.
Should we go on to China's question?
So China.
Yes, China. We're just about to embarrass you, China.
Sorry, I want to just
Sorry,
reverse a
sorry.
bit.
We want to take the mick out China.
Yeah, we will do in a minute. Julie has just asked, she'd really like to volunteer for upcoming events. Who should she get in contact with?
Just message us. Just message us or email us and we'll get the information. So usually Danny and I keep an eye on the messages coming through Facebook. Emails come through they go to head office, but they come straight to us. So just if you email or message us, we will get the message and then we'll contact you direct. So it would be fantastic to have you on board.
Yes,
so
please.
please do. That'd be lovely.
It's
Thank
nice
you.
to have new faces.
It is, yes.
Oh yeah, and then look, we've got the email coming up on the bottom of the screen. Damn it, you're good.
So let's go on to China.
Anna's got a question as well at some point.
I did,
You've got yes
from somebody I met today.
China's embarrassment, yes.
China, I'm sorry to do this to you. What do I do if I go on holiday without my medicine or supplies?
Apart from shame yourself.
We love you though, China.
China's on our committee, which is why we're not being clicky. China's on our committee. She's not here this evening on Facebook Live because she's on holiday and she forgot her medical supplies. So
She forgot. I think it's a stoma bag.
her
So I think she
stoma
forgot.
bag. So
And what
she's
she
wandering
said-
around with a Tesco bag of
I believe supermarkets I do have in
Oh,
Crohn.
sorry. To school.
I believe she told us that she contacted Salts.
Yeah.
I think Salts are I don't know if it's a private company, so and there are other companies available if so, but she contacted a company that provides stoma bags normally, and I guess she got something sorted out via that, I hope. We will see.
But Salts is based in Plymouth, so we do prefer Salts.
Oh, right.
Of my personal opinion. It's based in Plymouth. Plymouth, in fact.
Keep the Plymouth company.
So is that?
And I think, I mean, medicines, I guess, would be more difficult, wouldn't it? I mean, I would have
What
thought
would you do?
Europe would have a fairly good reciprocal agreement.
Because
So
Croatia's outside the EU, isn't it?
Yeah.
With an EHIC count.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the EEC thing, yeah.
Yeah, the EHIC.
I'm not
But
sure.
I think that I would try and phone my doctor. If it was me, I think I'd try and phone my doctor. I mean, if I'd forgotten my mercaptan urine, heaven forbid, I'd phone the doctor if I could first of all and say, what can I do to get around this? And if I couldn't, I'd maybe go on an NHS Direct and say, well, NHS Direct, you'd hope they'd have some kind of information about what you do if you've...
And the
Can't
other
get it.
resource that's really good on everything for travel is IBD Passport.
Yes,
So whether
I
they
forgot
would,
about
yeah,
that because we
is
talked about that
fantastic.
ages
So whether
ago.
or not
yeah.
they would cover that somewhere, I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
read all of
Yeah.
it, but no, I think it would be worthwhile.
We'll put something on Facebook about that because we did mention that. I mean, a long time ago we posted on Facebook about IBD passbook, isn't it?
Passport.
Passport,
Yes,
that's right.
IBD passport.
Because I remember Graham, who used to be on our committee, he'd mentioned it to us, and so we did put something out about it, but we haven't really followed it up recently.
It's
So
a
we
really
will do
good
that
resource,
again.
Really
yeah.
good resource.
So do I.
Fine, it's like, never mind forgetting your medication on holiday.
I hope Charlie's having a great holiday.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
bless her. Do you want to do your
Shall I do
question?
my question? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
at an event today and I mentioned that I'm doing Facebook Live tonight, and someone mentioned to me that they are, I don't know if you're watching, hi Graham, don't know if you're allowed, am I allowed to say that?
Bit late now.
Yeah.
It was just
Maybe I
first
shouldn't,
name, isn't it?
maybe I shouldn't
Just
have the
first.
second glass of wine. And he was saying that he's been struggling with what he's been diagnosed as IBS. He's taking quite a lot of buscopan, but he's having a really bad, almost a flare, where he's having like bloating, doesn't want to eat, and it's been going on for about 3 weeks now. And he thinks, after a little Google, that he might have Crohn's disease, which is the classic. And he said he has had blood tests before, but I was wondering I know what I said to him, but I was wondering what you ladies would say to the person whose name might be Graham.
I think anyone that has symptoms that are going on and worrying them or concerning them is to get it
to the
checked
doctor.
out, definitely. So all the blood tests, one of the best ways now of determining if there's any inflammation in the gut is to do a stool sample called a fecal calprotectin.
It's not as bad as it seems.
Most
No,
GPs
It sounds
now
so
do.
much worse than it
And it's
actually
only
is.
you only need
It's
a little
simple
bit.
stool sample.
You don't need to do it
You
at
don't
the
need half
doctor's
a
either.
No.
You don't need half a coffee jar. As I know somebody who supplied half a coffee jar, which I think must have given them a heart attack.
Was it in a coffee jar?
It was in the coffee jar.
Oh my god!
It was, yes.
Don't
So
be
you
that
just did a little
person.
bit, yes.
They peel off their personalised sticker and put it on the coffee jar.
But I think that if you so if you send off a fecal calprotectin and bloods, that will more or less tell you whether there's any inflammation going on. If your calprotectin is normal and your bloods are normal, it's
not.
highly unlikely you've got Crohn's or colitis.
Okay.
Not 100%, but a
No.
calprotectin particularly is a very, very sensitive test. You know, so generally speaking, it will be.
But also GPs can be a little bit stingy, shall we say? If you actually go in there and explain your symptoms and say, can you do these tests?
Yes.
They are more likely to do those tests. If you just go in and say, can you run more tests? They'll run very basic tests unless they have this absolute niggly feeling that you have definitely got something else going on. It's all to do with money, unfortunately.
Well, these are private practices.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You know, they are
So,
in
you
Don't
can't
be
be
afraid to say,
No.
I think I might have Crohn's or colitis, and can I be
Yes.
tested for that? Don't be afraid to say, because you won't know what the tests are, but just go in and say, I think I might have this,
And
Can't be
I think
taken.
most
Fight your
GPs
cause.
now would be
Would do
fine.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
They are a lot
Yeah.
better.
And I think
these
that
days.
you know, it might not be Crohn's, but if it's not right, get it checked out.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
So you know, it might come back and you go, you know, your blood test or whatever shows that it's highly unlikely to be Crohn's. I'd say if you're unwell in yourself, and I would do a little health warning about you know, googling symptoms.
Yeah.
I always think googling symptoms is bad. Whenever anyone talks to me about it, they go, well, I googled. You know, don't Google a drug. Don't Google, you know, unless, I mean, sometimes...
Take
you
it
know,
with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, I think one of the things is a lot, if you have time to sit and write on lots of forums about a drug, it might be that you're in a low place with your disease, and there might be lots of people who are on that, so it's not necessarily indicative just because it's online.
Sorry, just going back to GPs as well, there's a big campaign going on. Well, they are working, Crohn's and Colitis UK are currently working with GPs to improve primary care and recognising Crohn's and colitis earlier.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's actually going on right now. So that's, again, where some of the money that we've been raising and that you've been helping us with, where some of that money's going, is to get that primary care to be better. So that'll make life a lot easier for loads of people who are going to be diagnosed in the first place.
And I think that's really good, because twice today we've been answering questions and we've talked about what the charity does, and I think sometimes when we're just like rattling our tins at you, you might think, oh, Crohn's and Colitis, you might not really understand what it's for, but actually, you know, giving grants, lobbying in Parliament, you know, doing things with GPs,
Advice and
those things make
information.
such a difference to us as sufferers.
Yeah, it's really important.
Something else about going back to some of those symptoms. A little while back, my friend got diagnosed with IBS, and she couldn't get rid of the symptoms either, was taking lots and lots of buscopan, and after a little while of going through quite bad anxiety and things, she finally got a load of tests done and turned out she has celiac disease, which do have very similar symptoms to things that we have. So now she has cut out all wheat and she is doing absolutely fantastically. She is on next to like no medication. She has buscopan in her bag if she should need it, but she very rarely takes it because she has whittled that out. But I think it's something else just to think about. It may not be Crohn's or colitis.
Exactly.
It may be.
And we are not qualified.
Exactly,
to say.
we are
No.
not qualified at
You
all.
are.
You are. But over the phone.
I think we're coming to the end of our
We
half
should
an hour.
Probably
Up,
just
baby.
quickly say that
Sorry,
that
yeah.
1, 2, 3, we are just speaking as ourselves. We're
Yes.
not speaking on behalf of Crohn's and Colitis
No.
UK at all. Anything we've said is our own personal views,
Yeah.
and you should not take anything we say as medical advice.
Sorry, just a quick question that's just come up. We can keep going further, couldn't we?
We could.
Yeah.
How old were you all when diagnosed? I was 6. Hannah,
22, 23?
40 something.
11.
so all different stages.
But the most common age is supposed to be between 16 and 30. But
That's right,
we
yes.
are uncommon.
That's the
That
nicest
makes
thing you've
life-
ever said to me.
Strange bunch.
I'm really sorry, but we do have to start wrapping this up now. So should we go through the next couple of events that we've got coming up over the
Just
next
again.
months?
Just a reminder then,
quickly,
so
yes.
one table left for the quiz, which is on the 29th of September at Fort Stanford. Please message or email us about that because there's only one table left, as I said. And then pig racing is on Friday the 6th of October
Please
at
come.
Green Taverners. Free entry, just get to bet on loads of fluffy pigs all night. It's fantastic fun, do come.
One thing that wasn't mentioned was the Dickensian.
Yes,
evening.
we can get as far
Oh
as
yes,
Dickensian.
Dickensian, that'll come up in our next.
Yeah, we'll be talking about Dickensian in our next one, but that
Yeah.
is the
Do we
1st
know when the
of
next one is?
December.
Yeah, do we know when that's
Oh,
from?
No, we haven't got a date for our next
Oh,
one,
no.
but I imagine
We're
it'll
about
be
to
in
meet now.
November. Yeah, it'll probably be in November, I would think.
And if you want to volunteer, come and see us
Yes.
next week.
Yeah.
Plymouth Uni.
Yeah.
And it's been really great to see so many people
Yes, thank
interacting
you
on the
so
chat,
much.
finding
Yeah.
other people to talk to. Thank you so much. Please keep an eye on our page because it means such a lot to us. We want
If you
to.
want to carry on commenting once we've gone off, that's fine. We can
Yeah.
interact as well.
Yeah, do carry
Thank
on.
you ever so much, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Cheers, everyone. Cheers.